What do you understand by story pointing, and what will you advise? A team should be using story point, or should they be estimating their work on hours? What is the difference? Hello, welcome to the Scrum chat room with Dr. Francis Mbunya. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you for staying tuned because we always dedicated to bringing you information that's going to help you take some step ahead for that journey as a Scrum Master. In if you're already a Scrum Master, there is still a lot for you to learn. And one of the stuff which I'm offering Scrum Master that are already in, we have a community of practice. If you want to kind of get into more of what you're doing, grow in your journey as a Scrum Master, explore more opportunity, reach out to me. Check in the description box, you're going to see my number, and you can just send me a text and I will be able to tell you more about other opportunities that you can leverage as a Scrum Master. All right. Also, just before we go ahead, we have a safe training certification coming up Monday 28th. And if you want to get registered, enroll, and become a safe certified Scrum Master, send me a text, number on the back, and then I'll be able to enroll you for that certification. For those who enroll before Sunday, you definitely have a discount on the enrollment. All right, and for more information, basically by the end of the week, we are done with all of the studies, and you should be in good point to get your certification going. Okay, let's get back to our question. Story pointing hours. What should your team be using? All right. Now, one of the things you need to understand is why do we estimate stories in why do we estimate work in story points? Story points, it gives you a relative estimate. Let's say that if we say this work is 5 story point, it doesn't mean that it's going to take 5 days. It doesn't mean that it's going to take 5 hours. It's an estimate on the complexity of the work. And these numbers are assigned based on the Fibonacci sequence, which is kind of more technical illustration on how work should be calculated. Don't ask me what does 100 means according to the Fibonacci sequence. So not a technical guy. Ask me why, or if we assign a story 100, what does it mean? I'm going to give you the explanation, but then I don't know why they came out with half and 1 and 2 and 3 and 5. So, but I know how to use the number, right? Because that's the way we should be estimating work. Now, story pointing is a good method for estimate because it gives us how complex is the work. All right, let's say that we have to paint 2 walls of equal length, and one wall have a story point of 5 and another wall have a story point of 8. What does that tell me? They're equal length, right? And we're going to be doing painting. It's telling me that the wall that has a story point of 8 might require some complexity. It's the same length, right? So, and we're painting both walls, and one is assigned a low story point, one is assigned a high story point. It's the same length. Now, looking at those different story points, I can already understand that one of the wall we might kind of have some design that may require some high technicality, so it's a bit complex compared to maybe the first one is just going to be kind of purely white. And the reason why we use relative estimate is because we are not so certain. Remember, in product development, we're dealing with technology, and technology sometimes might be a bit complicated, right? Sometimes it requires security issues. Sometimes we might have bugs. Sometimes we might have some of a virus attack, and oh, you can name the rest. So it's like, this is a possibility that we can finish this work. But then when we estimate in hours, we are very sure it's going to take us 2 hours. For instance, if I want to drive maybe to the airport, I can say, okay, it's going to take me 30 minutes, all right? Because I already calculated the speed and other stuff. I can give like kind of a precise estimate. Now, when we know exactly, we're expert in what we're doing, we can estimate in hours. So if your team is really, really, really good, estimate an hour. But they don't really have to be really, really good. Some companies still want to go traditionally. Hours are more promoted in a waterfall environment where we want to get time. It's really an issue. Time, we're not flexible with time, right? Now, another question a lot of people ask is, can you convert story to hours? No, if you're planning a story point, keep the story point. You cannot say, oh, it's we have a story point, and a story point is going to mean that we convert one story point to 1 day. So a story point is equivalent to maybe 8 times. So no, you don't do this calculation. They're two independent way of calculating. All right, we might also just kind of go into a bit details on how to do estimate in hours. Now you need to be able to break down into tasks, and you need to be able to tax every hour and every load that is going to be every amount of effort that's going to be needed, and the hours can only be taxed by the knowledge worker, right, by the developer people that are doing the work. But story pointing is the way to go because it helps the team to be self-organized, right? And also promote more of creativity within the team. Because now if I put a story point, it put a story at a story point, a senior developer may be able to use less time to do that compared to a junior developer. Now the senior developer may create more time to assist junior developer to build their own skills to do more faster. That's the interpersonal skills that we are promoting within a team. This seems so kind of a bit abstract, right? Anyway, because you definitely might not have had the experience on how to write a story point, on how we do estimation using the poker planning tool, and how we're able to assign the story. And that is why you probably might want to join our Scrum practice room, where we actually go through all of this practical work. We show you the way to do it, not just talking theory. And if you want to learn what it takes to kind of join the coaching circle, where we are definitely giving people the experience on how to experience the practical way, how to have a practical internship before actually going for that their work. Now you can also check the number and reach out to me. Yeah. Now, a bonus question for you before you go. Now, one of the questions you might be asked in an interview, if you are given 30 story points as a Scrum Master, your team is given 30 story points, how will you calculate the time that will be used to complete the work? That's a tricky question, right? Now, it's a simple answer. Now, for you to know the time that is needed to complete that work, you need to understand the capacity of your team, which is the team size. You also need to understand what is the different tasks that need to be performed. It's your team having the right skills to be able to complete the work in this 30 story point. 30 story point doesn't just mean that if I have 5 developers, maybe assign everyone maybe 8 story point and we're good to go. No, it's 30 story point, but it doesn't tell us if it's all front end work or back end work. It goes into complexity. That's why we need now to go through story estimation by opening up each story after another, looking at what effort, what work need to be done, looking at what are the acceptance criteria, looking at what is going to be the definition of done, looking at also getting more clarity into what are the different aspects that need to be done, and looking at what capacity need to be done. So it's an open question, and the appropriate response is that it's going to be the amount of time will be based on the capacity, and it's also going to be based on the complexity of the work, also going to be based on the interpersonal skills available in the team. So when we have all of this available, we can be able to appropriately estimate. Alternatively, that question simply means that how will you plan 30 story point in the sprint planning? What are the different strategies you're going to be able to use to understand how much work you should be taking? Okay, don't forget to check the link and the resources that we have available in the description link, and I'll see you in the next video.